I actually mentioned that this series is going to be about single mother. So the previous video, I was able to talk about my transformation as a single mother and how you can actually transform your story as a single mother. So today's video is going to be about balancing work, motherhood, self-care as a single mom because you see, this journey is you putting in the work of multiple people together and you begin to navigate that path on your own on this soul journey. And the reality is that most people don't even understand this part of being a single mother. They feel that you have decided to be on this path. Why should we care? Why should we bother? Or you have decided that you want to take this step, this decision. Why are we supposed to even pity you or even help you look at your situation? And when you try to talk to some people as regards to your situation or as regards to your challenges, you know, they don't actually have that concept of what it looks like. Some will even tell you, be praying, just be praying to have a man that will help you shoulder your responsibility. It is not about having a man to shoulder my responsibility. But because I actually want to be a whole and I just need listening ears to at least acknowledge what I'm going through. Or some will even come back to the fact that why did you even leave your relationship in the first place? You understand those thoughts. But today, I actually want to talk about the reality of balancing work as a single mother because it is something I am living in presently, obviously, and it is not something I actually want to run away from. I want to accept it as part of me. And I want it to be a kind of foundation of what life is actually about to my children because when they grow older and they see people in this situation, they need to understand what it feels like. They need to be able to show empathy to those that are going through this situation, that are going through these challenges. And I want them to understand what it feels like to nurture them under this umbrella, under this canopy, because it's not an easy thing. It is not a very beautiful pathway to walk in. But at the same time, we can make it beautiful for ourselves. Being a single mother is a full-time job on its own. And in fact, it is when you combine your work, your parenting, your personal life, every single aspect of those children you are nurturing, and you are also trying to contain yourself within the same umbrella, you can understand it is really, really overwhelming. It is really, really draining. It is really, really mental challenging. And many single mothers struggle with guilt. And sometimes I struggle with that. I struggle with faulting myself. I struggle with burnout. Like I'm just so tired. I just want to rest. Sometimes I just shut down. Sometimes my blood pressure will be so high. I keep having this panting headache. I keep having this, this stillness that I can't seem to actually respond to anything or I can't seem to actually understand what is going on in my head. That is because the struggle is real. And at the point in time, we think to feel that we are never doing enough, especially when your children need your attention, they need to get some books, there are some items you need to buy, or probably there are some needs, some expectations right yet to be met, or even the demands in your house, probably when you are still thinking of how to pay for their school fees or of how to get food the next day. They just come to you and say, Mom, the bottle is broken. My water bottle is missing. My lunch bag got torn. Or I can't find a second pair of my socks. You understand? Some things that, and eventually you'll be like, am I even doing enough? You'll be like, these things are actually little things, but at that point, your brain goes into shock. You'll be like, oh my God. Sometimes you even resent them. You shout at them. You lash at them. You transfer aggression to them. And it is not because these children are guilty, but it is just life happening the way it should happen. And because of that, you feel like you're not even doing enough. Or you look at them with those clothes that you feel that they should have changed few months ago. Or you look at them sleeping on the mattress that You know that it is not even enough for them to sleep on for the night. But you look at them feeding on the food that you know that normally they are supposed to eat this food once, but you have to ration it for them. Or you look at the house you are living, you realize that, wow, I can't even believe my children are living under this image. Or you look at your children coming back from school, and there is a part of it that is so shy to welcome them because of their look, because of their appearance, because of their skin, because of their eyes, because of their bags. They're going to school with torn bags and clothing, you know, and you feel so inferior, feel so little within yourself that you are not doing enough. That is what we are actually going to be talking about in this video. I'm going to be addressing the part of the realities of balancing work, motherhood, and self care because as much as you really want to put these children in a better place, you need to also take care of yourself. You need to also be mindful of your life. You need to be present. You need to be, you need to breathe. And we're also going to be talking about strategies you can use to maintain time energy. And the beauty is just that the work is a lot. You just have to find the strategy that would help you keep the balance. It's a 24 hours job. So, and you can't run away from it because the next morning when you wake up, it is waiting for you to be attended to. But you just have to find the right strategy to put everything in place. I still battle with some, but the little I've been able to overcome that has created the massive shift in my life, I am willing to share with you. And we're also going to be talking about practical steps you need to maintain that physical life, that emotional stability, and that mental well-being because it is very important for us to have these three pillars in check. Your appearance will say a lot about the problem, the stress you are going through. The way you listen to them, the way you respond to things will also say a lot about how you balance your work and life is. And also your emotion, the way you talk to your children, the way you address them, the way you correct them with love or aggression says a lot about how balanced you are. And at the same time, we're also going to be talking about realistic expectations because as much as we are trying to find a way around this thing, there are some things you need to expect which are not negotiable. Just like you're trying to work so hard to put food on the table, some days are going to be totally out of control. Your children are going to lash out. Your house, your job, your career, your day are going to be ruined. And it is not because you're not working towards to become better, but they are just the reality to keep you in check. And to sum it up, we are going to be talking about tips to prevent burnout because burnout is actually real. It is one anchor I always and always consider. And I have experienced burnout multiple times. I have experienced burnout more than I can even say I've experienced. I don't even know how to say it because it is real. It is going to get to a point that you think you have everything under control, but your body will shut down. That is, it is drawing your attention to you to take control, to take care of yourself. So, we need to understand the basics, and that is the triple role of being a single mother. As a single mother, you are the provider, you are the caregiver, you are also human being with needs. Those are your three roles. The provider, I think there was a time I went back to my house and my children are in the home expecting me to return. And they told me that I asked them, have you eaten? They said no. I said, why not? They said they overheard my conversation with my sister. They call her Big Mommy. That I said, I want to buy bread and akara. So they are thinking that they are going to be keeping the food that is remaining for the next day. Then they will eat the bread and akara because it is going to be hot and it is going to taste fresh. Then I said, what if I don't come back with that bread and akara? What happens? He said, oh, mommy, whenever you say something, we know you are bringing it, you are going to do it. It shows that they are waiting for me to bring something to that house for them to eat. Imagine that kind of responsibility when you now sleep and wake up and you know you don't have anything to give them and they are actively waiting on you. And there are days like that. That is just the role. You are the caregiver. There was a time I was not feeling fine. I could not go to work. And my children went to school and they returned and he was not feeling fine. I actually took sleeping tablets so I can sleep. Do you know what happened? Midnight when I was sleeping, I only went to urinate and I decided to check on them. He was running temperature. I was feeling sleepy, but I can't just go to bed leaving him running temperature. I had to go to the kitchen, make some water, get paracetamol, use ibuprofen. I did not use paracetamol, I used ibuprofen for him because I figured the fever was actually coming from teething problem. I spent over 30 to 40 minutes before I could return to sleep. Do you know what happened when I woke up the next morning? I was having migraine and I was doing fine. Out of the fact that you are not doing fine, you still need to take care of them. Out of the fact that you are thinking of what to feed them with, you still need to give them that care, that attention. And to sum it all, even with the fact that you are providing, you are giving them the attention, you are taking care of them, you have needs. And when you neglect all these things, that is where the problem begins to come. When you neglect being the provider, you neglect being the caregiver, you won't be okay. Because there is a part of you that will feel like something is not right. And putting the all of these things together, it can feel like walking on a tightrope. It is normal to feel exhausted. That's just one thing I want you to understand. I told myself, because of the situation I am in, it is normal for me to feel this way. But how soon I will get out of this situation is accepting and trying to thrive, not just surviving. And I think at this point, if you have been able to watch my previous video on how to transform your life as a single mother, you should understand that the journey is not just about surviving, it is about thriving. So you might leave work at 5 p.m. and you cook dinner, help with homework, and barely have time for yourself before bed. The next thing is just that you went straight to bed. And the next morning you're up again. You are doing this, you are doing that. One of the things that has helped me now, Alhamdulillah, because my children are growing, they are taking their bath on their own now. Because the earlier you begin to expose them to that, the better it gets for you. And that's are the things we're going to be talking about on how to actually balance your work, motherhood, and self care. So you need to understand that you have that triple role, and it is also understandable that you can become exhausted, but it is part of the process. And what is the importance of self care? You see, most of us actually ignore that part. I ignored that part a lot of time and it affected me. It affected me a whole lot of time. But one thing I realized is that self care is not selfishness, it is essential for survival and effectiveness as a parent and for you to even thrive. If you don't take care of your feeding habits, your sleeping habits, the time you take off to rest, it's going to affect you. You won't be able to function properly. Now that I have prioritized my break, when I get home, I give myself at least 1 hour to relax before I jump into anything. Sometimes I get home around 6. I rest for like 1 hour till 7. By the time I get up by 7, I begin to think in my head, okay, 7 to 8. I want to take note of what they will eat. I want to make sure they eat. I want to look at the assignment. Once it is 8, past 8, 8:30, I observe my prayer and I sit on the prayer mat for at least 30 minutes before I go to bed. Because you need to relax before you jump to bed again. You don't just jump to bed with that's that higher frequency and think you're going to be having a good sound sleep. You need to step back, reflect on how the day went. Even if you're not doing thorough reflection, just allow your body to settle in. It is really, really essential for your survival because you want to go through each day. It is essential for your effectiveness as a parent, and it is also essential for you to thrive properly because you have dreams, you have ambitions, you have goals to pursue. Neglecting self care can lead to burnout because you're not taking care of the way you eat, the way you sleep, the clothes you put on, the way you make your hair, the time you take off. You know, either maybe just for you to just walk out, feel the atmosphere, breathe in some fresh air, and go back again. It does a lot. It can also lead to emotional overwhelm. There are some of us that the reason why we are not actually giving our best is because emotionally we feel so overwhelmed. We feel so tired. That's because we are not giving ourselves the break it actually requires. And it can lead to resentment towards work or your children. I remember there was a time I was stressed out from work and was so tired. There was no money. There was a lot of things I was battling with. And before I know it, I was lashing on my children. I was talking at them. I was shouting. And immediately, I saw the look on my daughter's face. And my son, the look was, they were scared. And I could read within them that they were like, is this our mom? There's a way your children would look at you and you know that probably something is wrong somewhere. Or maybe there's something you are doing that they don't like. And immediately I reminded myself, I have been stressed. And it is not their fault. So why should I keep lashing on them? I have been stressed. And for the fact that I am stressed does not even give me answer to what I'm trying to say. So why should I keep resenting them? Are they the cause of my problem? No. Allah has given them to me, fine. But I have to find a way to nurture them. And since then I told myself, I would never and ever, I would rather just keep quiet. I would rather stay away from them instead of me resenting them or lashing out at them. So, sometimes 15 minutes quiet time can do a lot of good. That time you spend outside, taking in, breathing in and breathing out can do a lot of good. And if you feel that you are not actually okay, you can decide to watch some movies with them. Maybe even the cartoon that you're not even watching. Just play it so that subsequently, at the long run, your brain can relax and you can begin to feel alive again. So when you're able to understand the triple role of being a single mother, the second thing that you need to understand that I always talk about transformation and becoming better is mindset shifts. There are certain mindsets, which are just three main mindsets you need to develop as a single mother. Number one is accepting perfection. Your work is there. Your motherhood lifestyle is there. Your self-care is there. Understand that you can't get it perfectly. You see, you cannot do everything perfectly, and that's okay. There are days that you do the assignments and you realize that, mommy, we forgot to do my mathematics assignments. My teacher said she wrote something in my book, and you'll be feeling like, wow, I can't imagine. That day has passed. Move to the next one. Those days does not actually add up in that sense. They only add up for the time being. Subsequently, they will grow and they will do the assignments on their own without your influence. All you have to do is just to oversee what they have done. Now my daughter can confidently do assignments on her own. It is only when she gets to a point whereby she can't handle it that she will bring it to me. She would look after her brother to do his assignment. His brother will also do his assignment on his own. Unlike them, that from this one to that one. And one thing I've always taught them from the beginning is that I've taught them to be independent in their doings, in how they wear clothes, in how they cream their body, in how they do their assignments. I only overlook and oversee. And I think I'm going to be making video on this as well. There was a time whereby I would have to oversee everything, monitor everything. But this time is not like that anymore. They can actually do most of these things on their own. And that is just fine. So you can't do everything perfectly. So subsequently, you just have to accept the fact that, well, it has happened this way. It has to continue. Or probably the days you forget to wash the dishes in the kitchen, or probably you left a soup you're supposed to have prepared, or probably you forgot to add something in their lunch bag. Sometimes you need to expose them to this aspect of life so that they can understand the journey and also have empathy for their mother, that you are really trying your best. Some days laundries are going to pile up, dinner is going to be there, and some days your child still feel loved or you just want to give them the attention that is required. I remember there are lots of days that I'm going to be having clothes to wash for like week one or week two, and I'll look at the laundry basket and I'll be like, wow, am I going to be washing all these clothes? And I would have actually preferred that I get somebody to do it for me, but I don't have the money. I'll be like, that 3,000 I'm going to pay. If you understand the African Nigerian economic situation, you will understand where I'm coming from. 3,000 naira can be a major barrier to getting help sometimes. And I'll be like, that 3,000, I can actually make stew with it, and I'm going to be eating that rice as stew when I'm done washing the clothes to pay myself. Because sometimes we might be thinking that, oh, we might need the help, we can seek attention where necessary. But that help you are looking for can actually cost more than what you can afford at that time. So you need to understand that acceptance of imperfection will help you navigate the path. And the second mindset that is very important is prioritize yourself without guilt. I remember then when I'm staying back at my work or I'm going to a particular place or I'm being invited for a function and the likes of them, I usually feel like, ah, I'm spending a lot of time away from these children, or I am not supposed to take this long, or I am not supposed to get this clothes, this shoe. I still battle with that a lot of time. When I want to buy something for myself, I'm always like, I'm supposed to be using this to get something for my children. But you also need that care. You need that attention. You need that stability. So caring for yourself improves your ability to care for your children or for your child. Because when you don't care for yourself, you won't have that satisfaction within you. The care your child needs, you also need that care. But at this time, you need to be able to give it to yourself without guilt. Just like when you are taking an evening off or you are meditating, you're exercising, you're always like, oh, I think I'm supposed to be with my children now. No, it is actually you prioritizing yourself without guilt. And the third mindset that is very important is to set boundaries. There are some times that probably you'll be thinking that if I'm able to take up this job, I can actually afford to get some things for my children, or I can actually build this, I can build that. I understand that. But sometimes you need to say no. I remember then when I was working at my sister's place, I would work from Mondays to Saturdays. Now, on Mondays to Fridays, on Saturday when I'm done washing clothes, I would want to go and take one woman for home lesson. I realized that by the time I'm going there, I will be tired, I will be yawning. And by the time I'm done, or when I'm teaching this woman, I'm always tired, I'm always stressed. And when I get back, I'm going to be looking so unsettled. And I figured it was affecting me. So at that point, I said, no, I can't wash in a day. I can't go tutorial in one single day and still make sure I do all the house chores. So sometimes there are things you need to set boundaries for, just like now as well. On my Saturday, I want to wash clothes. I want to go to two tutorials. I've decided to remove the washing clothes for Saturdays, move it to Sundays, and Saturdays I only go for tutorials alone. So sometimes you need to actually remove some extra work or some social obligations, some duties that are not yours, so that you can feel comfortable. And it is going to help you avoid burning out. These are the crucial mindsets you need to have as a single mother that is trying to balance the work, motherhood, and self care. So, what are those practical steps we really need to balance our work, motherhood, and self care? The first one is to plan your day strategically. You see, one thing I always do every now and then, and I still keep doing up to now, is always planning my day. If it is three main things you are able to achieve for Monday, that is okay. Even if it is one, that is okay. Sometimes you might come across some things that you did not even think of or you did not plan for, and eventually you just have to attend to them. But how you can actually prevent that is to plan your day strategically. On Monday, what do you do? What needs to be done? Not what you need to do. What needs to be done? On Tuesday, what needs to be done? On Wednesday, you realize that sometimes on Monday, what you think you should do might not actually be important to be carried out on Monday. You can actually shift it to Wednesday or Thursday. So you need to understand at that point. In the morning, what do? You prepare your kids for school, you prepare their breakfast. In the afternoon, you focus on your work hours. In the evening, you have quality time with your children. And you actually need to be able to plan each day. And as you're planning each day, you also pay attention to your goals. I figure that we have 4 weeks in a month. We only have 5 weeks once in a while. For the 4 weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3 is going to be for me creating content on my channels. And the last week, which is week 4, is about me working on my projects. That is how I'm actually going to build in the business. Just like the same thing I did in my house. On Monday, I go to tutorials. On Tuesday, I don't go. On Wednesday, I go for tutorials. On Thursday, I don't go. On Fridays, Saturdays, I go for tutorials. On Sunday, I don't go. I stay at home with my children. So you need to be able to arrange yourself. In the morning, what do you do? In the afternoon, what do you do? At night, what do you do? And when you're actually planning your day, you need to prioritize tasks. Focus on what truly matters. What are the key concepts that needs to be done? On Saturday, I would always want to wash clothes and go for tutorials. But recently, I figured that I can't do everything. So washing clothes shifts to Sunday. Going for tutorial is on Saturday. Sunday in the morning, the only thing I just have to do in the house is to wash clothes. And I also cook what we are going to eat from morning till night, and that is either beans and yam or bread and beans. No, there are things you just need to be strategic about. Because if you are not, you're going to be spending money, time, and resources lavishly. So some tasks can wait till later. And you realize that some things, if you don't actually do them, they are not going to be giving you any negative impact. So identify high important tasks that would actually create an influence and let go of the less critical ones. The ones that don't actually require your attention, remove them. For example, folding clothes immediately when you are done drying them. You don't have to. You can just put them somewhere. Do something else. In the next morning when you feel okay, maybe straight from bed, you see the clothes, you can begin to fold them. And your children, you can begin to introduce them to how to do these things for you or with you. That is how you create independent children as a single mother. So they can begin to be exposed to that path, to that life, that it is just more than sleeping and waking up under the influence of our mother. We need to assist her, we need to help her. And the step three is to use time saving strategies. And sometimes I figure that this is really important, this is helpful, but not for everybody at a time. You can meal prep. Probably you're cooking what you want to eat on Mondays, on Tuesday, or Wednesday. You pack them in the freezer, or you have some online shopping, or you have some batch preparation. But for women that are still struggling with their finances, I think that you just have to be strategic about this. On Saturdays and Sundays, that most of us are commonly home, like myself, I actually prepare the food that we can eat from morning till night. You see, sometimes we always feel that our health, we need that big diet, we need, a kind of orderliness in our food. But if you understand what it feels like to be in Africa and realize that most of these things are just exaggerations, I am not telling you to walk out of your ideal meal planning routine, but I'm telling you to work with what is working for the time or the season you are in. On Saturdays and Sundays, most times we cook beans and potato, beans and yam, bread and beans. Because when we cook beans, we practically eat it from morning till night. And when you eat beans to a point, your stomach gets filled, you just keep drinking water. Because I know that my weekend sometimes I be so busy. And Sunday evening, I want to actually prepare soup and stew for the next week. So because of that, we try to eat something that is, can actually go spirally without us having much stress. So you can actually prepare school lunches before the ceremony. There are some of us that have freezer, that have a lot of access to these items. But you have to put everything you want to do in a context. Maybe on Saturdays, as you are washing the clothes, your daughter might be mopping the living room. You are trying to save time, and at the same time you are becoming productive. And the fourth thing is to build support network. I mentioned in the previous video how to transform your life as a single mom. You need to put yourself in community whereby you have people that understand you, at least to an extent. Not a community whereby you feel threatened, you feel misplaced, you feel misaligned, you don't feel purposeful. You can actually put your children in a particular place where they can be monitored in your absence or while you are working. Or you have a group of people that you go to whenever you feel work loaded, or probably you just want to take some full time off. Sometimes trying to do everything alone can actually create stress and exhaustion. But at a point in time, if you have family members or relatives that you can actually put your kids to maybe on holiday or during some weekend breaks, you can actually utilize those opportunities. You don't need to feel guilty for asking for help. And those that will help you, you will know. Those that will not help you, you will also know. And subsequently, you can begin to adjust to the atmosphere so that you can have the time for work. You can have the time to be the mother. You can also have time for your own self care. And also, you need to schedule self care. How many times in a week do you want to have time for exercise? For you to take naps, for you to meditate, for you to do your hobbies? Like myself, on Sunday morning before, I even now when I wake up in the morning, from morning after my salat to subuhi, I sit on my table and chair and work till like 9. My children knows that at this time I don't want to be disturbed. So they try to play. So I'm there, I'm reading, I'm meditating. 9 to 11, I'm going to do the laundry to wash the clothes. And when I'm washing, my daughter is there to mop the room. Now she's even telling me she wants to be washing the toilet. At the point in time, I was like, wow, I don't actually want her to do it. But I figured that she's going to be a woman, and subsequently she's going to be doing that on her own. Or maybe she has a house. I need to keep helping her learn how to actually keep her home clean and tidy. So gradually, I begin to explain to her, this is how you do it. You don't open your mouth when you're doing this. You make sure you're not communicating. And if her brother, you don't go to your sister at those points. You need to understand that she's working. And if she's doing that, you help her arrange things. She's going to be packing the sponge. She's going to be packing the brush. She's going to be doing all this. So you help her rearrange so she can wash. And when she's done washing, take your bath immediately. When you are done washing, take your bath immediately. This and this and that. And when she's done, sometimes I look at it, I realize that there are some things she could not get well. Then I do the work completely. At least it is reducing the time I have to attend to myself. So you need to block out time for exercise. That time you need to go for break. That time you need to meditate. In the morning like this, when I'm done taking my bath, I go to my praying mat. They are there dating themselves. I'm only monitoring them. Okay, you have done this, you have done that. Okay. So what's the next thing to be done? You are craving for yourself. Good. I'm on my praying mat, I'm meditating. I'm praying. I'm doing all sorts there. So you need to be able to give yourself. And I noticed that the more I dabble into everyday activities, the harder it gets for me to actually get through the day. And it disrupts my presence, it disrupts my mindfulness. I'm not fully present. Dabbling into duties, into chores every now and then will take that mindfulness away from you. You won't feel present because your body is going to be so disorganized. Many single mothers will always keep self-care. They would always keep that part where they need to listen to themselves. To the fact that this is one thing that actually affected my mom, I so rest in perfect peace. She always kept the aspect that she needs to take care of herself, and that really affected her, even till her grave. And that is one thing I learned the hard way. When you skip self care, it would lead to emotional depletion. Mentally, you're not going to be okay. In fact, physically, some aspects of your body are not going to be doing fine. Why do you think we have single mothers of 2 and 3 and they are looking so young, like they never had children of their own? That is because they are able to balance that self care you are battling with. So you need to treat your self care appointments. Take it like your non negotiable work meeting. In the evening on Sunday, I watch reflective videos. I watch some content that I downloaded on YouTube, not just random movies. I watch content I downloaded on YouTube on how to become better, either the goals I'm pursuing. And I actually told them that my phone for now is actually my workplace. And because of that, I might not be able to give you my phone more often. But whenever I'm charged, I would definitely do that. And the last step you can actually take that would help you balance your work, self care, and motherhood is integrate self care into daily life. You see, as you're working, as you are navigating, as you're thriving, you can always listen to podcasts, maybe when you are doing the dishes in the kitchen, or maybe on Saturdays or Sundays when I'm washing. My phone is always on YouTube playing music because that is one of the things that keeps me alive. Music about religious, or I'm listening to sermons, or I'm listening to some podcasts or some TED Talks. I remember on Saturday night, I watched a podcast. Normally, I don't watch a video like that is as lengthy as 2 hours. But I watched this one. But the more I was watching it, I was actually getting a hang of what my life is actually about. It is about the money beliefs and the mindset that is sabotaging we Africans. And one day I'm going to be talking about these three guys that has actually helped me become a better version of myself. I watched this thing and I figured that when I went to bed, I was a whole lot at peace within me. You can stretch for 5 minutes. You can even take some nap within the work time. And you can also practice gratitude or journaling before you go to bed. You can even have reflective exercise, maybe with your children or with yourself, but you can actually conduct a lot of things within you just to make sure that your daily life is filled with self-care integration. Even 10 minutes of deep breathing can do a whole lot of good for you. Now that we have talked about that, there are some common challenges that I actually talked about in the beginning of this video. Those are the things you should be expecting that are actually important for you to understand as you are trying to balance this. The first one is overwork and burnout. You see, Long work hours, parenting duties can actually lead to exhaustion. And that is just the reality. So it's one of the challenge we are bound to face as a single mom. But when you keep working for hours and you don't rest, you keep thinking you want to do it, you want to make sure everything is intact, you want to make sure you are in control, you want to make sure you are in charge, it can actually lead to burnout. So what you have to do is delegate tasks at this point, set realistic work expectation and prioritize rest. You don't have to achieve everything in a single day. You can take it a day at a time. You don't have to achieve everything in a single day. Prioritize your task and do the most important one. The second challenge is guilt around taking time for yourself. Because one way or the other, you're going to be feeling guilty that you are actually, taking rest when you're supposed to be working, or you are leaving your children to do some things on their own. No. Sometimes we usually feel selfish for taking break, but the reality is that reframe self-care as essential for your child well-being, because a sane mother can nurture a sane child. That is just it. A sane mother can nurture a sane child. If you're not in a good position, you can't be nurturing good children. And you don't want to raise children that are actually defaulting in most areas you could have controlled. So you can always be present even when you feel you are taking some time off. This is actually part of what your child actually needs. And the third challenge is financial constraint. This is one thing I'm still going to be talking about, which is very important, and it is coming up in the later section of this April content video. That is financial empowerment for single mothers. Limited resources may make childcare and personal time challenging, and I've been there. I am still there, but alhamdulillah, I'm stepping out gradually. When there is no money, money might not be the most important thing, but it affects everything that is important. When there are limited resources, there are so many things we battle with. In fact, personally, your child care, their upbringing, your personal care can actually be disturbed. But the reality is that you can seek community resources. Though in Nigeria we have limited access to such, but there are still people around you can always reach out to when you need help. You can reach out to your siblings, your family members, those that you feel will understand, and you can actually upgrade your work, because I think that is one thing we should understand. One thing that is money that is coming in consistently, month interval, gives you a lot of relaxation, unlike the one you don't even know if it will come in or not. Something that is coming in 4 weeks interval will do a lot of good, or something that is coming in weekly interval will do a lot of good, at least being distressed. So your work, you can step it up, or you can actually have outside work arrangement with some people. You work for them and you also get paid. And small scale yourself, if you have options, you can go into business, you can go into affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing does not necessarily mean online. Maybe for some people, for example, you know how to market gadgets to people, or you have people around you that are always using gadgets. So you can go to Ikeja or mall or 3C Hub or Slot or Konga or Jumia and just pick up a slot to become an affiliate marketer. You advertise to people, posting the videos on that your TikTok account that is just lying there, watching unnecessary and irrelevant things that does not add to your growth. That your Instagram page that is not bringing money to you, post it there. By the time you have one buyer, two buyers, three buyers, that is how it begins. It is not going to be immediately, but subsequently, gradually, 6 months from now, you will be far gone from where you are. And you can actually maintain a budget friendly lifestyle. On monthly basis, our feeding fee is 60,000 naira, which is not even enough, but at least it can still sustain us to an extent. And my kids' school fee is 25,000 naira every month. And also, my upkeep is 20,000 naira because I have to transfer to my work and I also have to subscribe. And at the end of the day, I still have like 20,000 naira to save for my rent. At the end of the year, 20,000 naira in 12 months is 240,000, which is even more than my rent. So if I still save 10,000 naira each month, that will cover my rent. Or 15,000, that is 115,000 naira for 12 months. That's 180,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken. So there are ways you have to maintain your budget, and you try to map out everything based on what you are earning that is consistent. Anyone that's now coming is an addition, not the primary aim and objective. And lastly, that is emotional overload. See, this is going to keep coming to you over and over again. And you have to be able to understand that balancing responsibility doesn't come with anxiety. You're feeling bad when they're expecting from you and you don't really have much to offer. Or when you are stressed, you've been worked up, and you come back home, your children have messed up the house, or they did not do what you told them to do, or they could not at least say, Mommy, welcome, or they could not at least ask, Mommy, how are you feeling? How is your health? I understand this can be actually emotional overwhelming, but the reality is that you just have to keep giving yourself that jurisdiction that you are better. You can go for therapy, you can go for support, you can actually talk to people, and you can also talk to your children because you want them to look through you and see what you are going through so they can empathize with you, they can put themselves in your shoe, and subsequently they can give you that respect, that love, and that understanding that you are their mother, and you want them to look at you with so much happiness that they can do better than you are doing. So because of you want them to do better, you are not relenting. So teach them to be to be supportive, teach them to be emotional, teach them to understand what life looks like. And eventually, when you feel that it is something too much on your chest, you can reach out to people, trusted people, not just people that will judge, that will not be objective about their judgment, or they will judge you passing judgment anyhow. Those that will give you listening ears and prefer realistic solutions to you. The last part of this video is going to be talking about strategies for sustainable balance. And if you want to keep something working on, you want to maintain that steady flow in your life. The first thing is to manage routine and consistency. A predictable schedule helps both you and your child feel secure. So I think at that point, I would always remind myself that I have to have consistent time activities. I wake up by 5 every day. I go to bed by 9:30, 10 latest. I go to work. I come back in the evening. I prepare their meal. I take care of their assignments. The ones I'm not able to do, it moves to the next day. But some certain things that needs to be done on each day is to wake up early, meditate in the morning, speak to my God, and then move through the day. You have to give your routine consistency. Don't wake up at 5 today and wake up by 7 tomorrow. It shows you're not consistent and it shows you're not taking charge of your life. When you're a single mother, you understand that work needs to be done. It is not that we are not tired. We are tired, but work needs to be done. So we are going, we are moving, we are not waiting. I am tired too, but we have a goal to achieve. Until we are able to get there, we see that picture. It is not that we are not happy, but we want that addition to our life so that we can also become full. So you need to have flexibility and adaptability. So sometimes when you plan your things and it doesn't work, you can always maneuver. Just like when I set my goals and it doesn't happen. So subsequently, I try to adjust. I try to blend in. I try to correct. I try to remove. I try to add. I try to simplify. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes routines will be disrupted. So just accept the fact that it is dynamic and how flexible you are will determine how far you are going. It is not about rushing, rushing, rushing. It is consistency over perfection. And also, you need to celebrate small wins. I always tell this in my community that you see that little thing you are able to achieve, it's still success, it's still growth, and you need to celebrate that. Acknowledge accomplishment no matter how small, even if it is just a completed work project or a peaceful bedtime routine, or you are able to attend to your children's assignments, or you are able to prepare meal, or they told you that, Mom, the food is delicious, Mom, thank you for the shoe, Mom, thank you for, listening to that, Mom, thank you for this, thank you for that. It gives a lot of soothing relief. And lastly, maintain boundaries at work. When you're in your workplace, you need to understand that you are not like just regular ladies. You are not like every other woman out there. So you have a bigger life, bigger dream, bigger accomplishment to achieve. So because of that, communicate clearly about workload. If they are giving you what is not necessary, let them know. And if you are doing things that is more than what you are being paid for, speak openly. Because one thing about being a single mother is that you need help. And because you need the help, you are not actually asking for them to help you. You are helping yourself, and you shouldn't be denied of the access you should be getting in your workplace. So if there are certain tasks you are given, please avoid it. And if there's some work you've been doing that is actually draining your energy, now it's time to actually begin to look into it. So you can also prevent some family members coming to your house, giving you unexpected or draining, life challenging, tormenting, resentful words, or those that will come to you to just eat your food, or those that will keep battling with your children, saying a lot of things, you need to keep that boundaries. And because you actually want to become better, you need to be able to establish some protocols. You see, for you to actually balance your work, to balance your motherhood, to balance yourself as a single mother, is actually challenging, but it is achievable when you have the right strategy, when you have the boundaries, and when you have that self compassion. Some days are going to be messy, it is part of the journey. Some days are going to be tiring, some days are going to be like you are falling back into circle, but your effort really matters. Your well-being is very important. The support system you're having is very important. You see, that small, consistent actions you're making are the things that would eventually create a compound effect. So you need to be able to manage the whole of these rules with loving yourself alongside. I have a thriving community on Telegram where I put women like myself and you together, that we come together on a monthly basis to have a session to change our life a month at a time. And subsequently, it has been a very beautiful one, though we don't have the big numbers, but at least it's a journey, and I'm willing and I'm presenting to you to come on board. YouTube is actually a good place to be, but I can also assure you that the Telegram community is a place you don't want to miss out from. And I also have a full transformation training on how you can actually start living your life again. It is titled Get Your Life on Track, and the link is in the description box below, where I walk you through how you can start your journey again, either as a single mother or as a lady or as a woman that is intentional about her life, starting from the life audits, the mindset shift and renewal, emotional resilience, building support, setting your goals, understanding the journeys and the pathways, and all that is necessary for you to begin to live the life you are actually intentional about. The link is in the description box below. If you find this useful, join the community because on weekly basis, I bring to your skin content like this that will turn your life and my life around. Until I see you in my next one. Bye.